Picture a ladder. Every rung is a promotion, a raise, a title upgrade. Your parents pointed at that ladder since you were 6 years old and said, "Climb it. Good marks, good college, good job, good ladder." I want you to picture something else now, a treadmill. Because here's the thing nobody tells you about the ladder. For most people, it's not a ladder at all. It's a treadmill dressed up to look like one. Let me tell you about a man named Rohan. Not his real name, but his story is real enough. I've met a dozen versions of him. Rohan graduated top of his class in commerce. He became an accountant, a good one. By 30, he was earning more than both his parents combined ever did. New car, two-bedroom flat, family proud. By every measure his relatives used at weddings, Rohan had made it. But every Sunday night, Rohan felt the same quiet dread. Not because he hated numbers, because he'd done the math on his own life, and the math didn't work. Here's the calculation he never told anyone. He earned roughly 90,000 rupees a month. His expenses, rent, EMAs, family contributions, the odd dinner out, ate almost all of it. What was left, he saved. At that rate, to build the kind of wealth his parents dreamed for him, a paid-off house, his kids' education fully covered, retirement without fear, would take him past 60, maybe past 65. He would spend his entire working life renting out his hours one by one for a number that inflation was quietly shrinking every single year. This is not a story about Rohan being bad with money. Rohan was excellent with money. This is a story about an equation, and the equation was broken before he ever touched it. Because here's what school never taught any of us. A salary is not wealth. A salary is a trade. You trade hours for rupees. And the moment you stop trading, you get sick, you get old, you get laid off. The rupees stop too. That's not a plan. That's dependency wearing a suit. So why do we still chase it? Why did Rohan, smart, disciplined, hard-working, let walk straight into a system that couldn't get him where he wanted to go? Because the system was never designed around what you want. It was designed around what's easy to teach at scale and easy to plug into a company's payroll. Schools don't get funding for turning out entrepreneurs. They get funding for turning out employable graduates. There's a word for accepting a system just because it's familiar and safe, even when it's quietly working against you. It's called complacency, a comfortable acceptance of things as they are, without questioning if they should be different. And complacency is expensive. It's just a bill that arrives 20 years late. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Around the same time Rohan was doing his monthly math, his cousin Priya was doing something that looked, on paper, much riskier. Priya was a school teacher, decent pay, nothing special. But Priya had noticed something. Every year, dozens of parents in her building complained about the same problem. No good spoken English coaching for young kids nearby. Everyone had the problem. Nobody had built the solution. Priya didn't quit her job. She didn't take a loan. She started on weekends. 8 kids, a rented hall, word of mouth. That's it. No app, no funding, no disruption. Just a problem solved for people who were desperate for it to be solved. 3 years later, Priya's weekend classes became a real institute. She hired 2 teachers. She still teaches on Saturdays because she loves it, but the business runs whether she's in the room or not. Do you see the difference between Rohan and Priya? It's not intelligence, it's not luck, it's not even risk, not really. It's this. Rohan was paid for his time. Priya was paid for a problem she solved that could scale beyond her own 2 hands. That's the entire equation of wealth, stripped of the mystique Silicon Valley wraps around it. Find a problem people actually feel, not a problem you think is interesting, a problem they're frustrated by. Solve it in a way that doesn't require you personally in the room every single time. And let the market, real people, with real frustration and real money, decide how much that solution is worth to them. This is why the cleaner and the accountant get paid differently, even though both work hard. It was never about effort. It's about how many people's problems you're solving and how replaceable you are while solving it. Here's the part that stings a little. Most of us were never taught to look for problems. We were taught to look for jobs. We were taught to ask, what can I become, instead of what can I fix? And so we spent our 20s chasing titles when the actual door to freedom was quietly sitting in the complaints of the people around us the entire time. I'm not telling you to quit your job tomorrow. Rohan didn't. He's still an accountant, but on weekends now he does something else. He noticed that small business owners around him were terrified of tax season, terrified of GST filing, terrified of the accountant jargon he understood in his sleep. So he started building simple explainer content, then simple templates, then simple paid consultations for the exact fear he used to feel himself before he became the guy who understood it. He didn't build the next Amazon. He didn't need to. He built a small, scalable answer to a problem that would never stop existing because businesses will always fear tax season. That's the real equation, not get rich quick, not one weird trick. Find the ache, build the answer, let it grow without you carrying it on your back forever. And if none of that happens for you, if you try and it doesn't scale, if the timing's wrong, if the problem wasn't big enough, that's not failure in the way we've been trained to fear it. That's information. Every version of Rohan I've ever met who eventually got somewhere had at least one attempt that quietly went nowhere first. So here's my question for you, the one I had to sit with myself for a long time. Not, how do I get rich? But, what problem right in front of me right now is everyone around me complaining about and just hasn't been solved yet? Because somewhere in that answer is your ladder, the real one, not the treadmill dressed up to look like. If this made you see your own Sunday night math a little differently, that's the whole point. I'll see you in the next one.